back to Cynthia Untamed, everyone. Thank you so much for being part of this community where we are building the current generation of leaders across the world. I'm so excited to host Muhammad from Indonesia. Very excited.
Hi.
He is one of the winners of the Opportunity Desk Impact Challenge. We have been doing a series of winners, and Muhammad is coming in third in our session, although he was the first runners up for the challenge. For those who do not know what Cynthia Untamed is about, we amplify the stories of young changemakers across the world. And today we are hosting Muhammad. Opportunity Desk is a website where you are able to access opportunities from scholarships to internships to jobs. And Cynthia Untamed is a proud partner of the Opportunity Desk Impact Challenge this year, and I am now highlighting the stories of the winners. So, Muhammad, you are most welcome to Cynthia Untamed. Please introduce yourself,
Yep.
tell us your name, where you're from, your age, and a brief description of what you do.
Okay, so my name is Muhammad Iqhrahmullah, and people call me Ikram most of the time, or Muhammad. I'm 28 years old this year, uh, and what I'm doing right now is studying a doctoral degree in my university, Universitas Syah in Indonesia. So I'm from Indonesia. To be exact, it's in Aceh province. So as a doctoral student, I spend my time, most of the time, doing research, and I also uh, empower the community because in Aceh we have people who are using mercury to extract the gold, and that is a very dangerous substance that can hamper our health. So using research and also the evidence-based data, we try to tell these people that this is dangerous, and we want them to, you know, kind of change their behavior because they're so welcome to this toxic substance, and we want them to know that this is dangerous and they need to uh, utilize this very carefully. Yeah.
That's amazing, Muhammad. So the other day, I went to talk to a group of children in Nairobi, Kenya,
Wow.
and I was
Hmm.
asking them, "What do you want to be later in life?" And someone actually told me, when we ask children what they want to be, we actually need to ask them what problem they want to solve later in future. And I'm so
Wow.
glad, Muhammad, you are using
Okay.
your PhD research to solve a
Mm,
challenge in the community, which is mercury pollution. And I'd encourage every young
yeah.
person who's watching this to also adopt that. Whether you're doing your
Mhm.
degree, your master's degree, or your PhD, whatever program you are part of, make sure you use it to solve a certain challenge in your community through research, like
Yeah.
what Muhammad has said, and through producing evidence. So that's so amazing to know, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say. So, what motivated you to start doing the work that you are doing right now?
Uh, what motivates me? Because uh, I have this special feeling for my hometown, for my province as Aceh. I want to see my province to be developed, to be prosperous, and because of that love, and I see that this mercury is a greatest challenge in our province, and there's been many news about it where uh, babies babies were born with birth defect, and there's also death cases, and also polluted rivers reported in the newspaper. I think this is a very concerning uh, problem because it's not only happen now, but it can persist to the long future. And if we don't do it now, if we don't change it now, it will become problems in the future, even uh, worse than what happened today. So yeah, that's my motivation.
Wow, that's amazing to know. So I can see that you're very keen on protecting the future. Our future are our children and our young
Yeah.
people. And that's awesome, awesome to know. So at the beginning of this session, I mentioned that Cynthia Untamed is a proud partner of the Opportunity Desk Impact Challenge, and Muhammad is one of the winners. So Muhammad, what motivated you to be part of the Opportunity Desk Impact Challenge? You submitted a video, you answered some questions, you asked for people to vote for you, and now you emerged as one of the winners.
Mhm. So I think that this mercury problem is not only happened in my province, it happened worldwide. It happens in Africa, it happens in other countries. So by having this information to be spoken out through such a huge platform such as Opportunity Desk, I hope my project can be replicated and become a solutions everywhere around the world. So yeah, that's my first motivations. Yeah,
Wow, so also understanding that Opportunity Desk is a big platform. And that's just to let
yeah,
you know, guys, that Opportunity Desk has a ton of viewers, a ton of subscribers, at least 80,000 collected across all platforms. So whenever you apply for an opportunity, whenever you present yourself for an opportunity, then you are showing yourself to the world, and not just through Opportunity Desk, but also through Cynthia Untamed, where you get to learn how to be a global citizen. And by global citizen, I mean that you are a change maker, and that's one of the Sustainable Development Goals, specifically Sustainable Development Goal 4.7. And Muhammad, you are a young person who's doing incredible work. I haven't met many people who are working on mercury pollution, to be specific. And so it is
mm,
important to integrate intergeneration considerations in planning, like
sure,
you mentioned, and I read that in your application. And that means including young people in the planning, in the research, in all processes. So,
yeah.
how can young people be involved in making decisions about renewable energy just like you do?
Well, young people uh, is very keen about the change in the community. They want to make a better place for the community, and they can do it by, for examples, educating themselves first, and also educating their families, people around them, and they can also make a campaign in a larger scale, attracting more people to pay attention towards the issue of mercury, especially because you know it happens far away from the urban area, right? So not many people use social media, and not many of the cases got exposed by the media. So I think the role of young people can be very important to tell the world, to tell people that there are problems there, and hopefully that there are other people who are working with the solutions. We don't need to, for example, we don't need to use mercury. We can provide you an alternatives. So young people can make change uh, by like speaking out about this issue, and also they can communicate this issue with the government, because the governments also care about the young people, making sure that this issue is not only a concern of a certain generations, but also, like you said, an intergenerational issue, and it somehow you know gives an idea that this issue has a big demand in the society, so the government has a more incentive to make a better regulations. My research is more likely into the monitoring of the mercury level in the water, and also how we can remove the mercury from the water. Yeah.
I was watching a video in your submission where you were talking about that process that you just talked about of using renewable materials. So could you
Mm.
explain to our viewers how that process works?
How is it? How does it work?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, just like you see in my video, so I made this absorbent in a film forms. It's like a disc, a small disc, and then I throw it to the water, and then the mercury, which has been dissolved in the water, can be attracted into this uh, what's so called adsorbent, and then we can remove it as we remove the adsorbent from the water, and the mercury level in the water can be reduced uh, into to a safe level. So you don't need to worry anymore after the treatment. You can utilize the water for drinking, for instance. Yeah.
Wow, wow. And I'll also insert that video that Muhammad has talked about just so that you can understand that whole process. So thank you so much, Muhammad.
Sure.
And target
Yeah.
7.3 of the Sustainable Development Goals advocates for ensuring that
Mm,
by 2030, the world will double the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency. And Muhammad has actually talked about the aspect of renewable materials. So why should countries invest in such materials?
oh, because you see, we are having another crisis when we're talking about pollutions in the water. That is plastic. Microplastics pollutions is becoming a global threat right now. Uh, Such materials are not eco-friendly because uh, it cannot be biodegraded. It cannot just disappear. It has to be removed, but it's very hard to do so. So we're having this crisis right now, and when we're talking about renewable materials, there the there are materials that uh, that are not renewable, and when it is not renewable, it's going to be scarce. It's going to be expensive later. So investing in this renewable materials means uh, we can we can utilize this over and over. We can produce the materials over and over. Thus, we don't need to worry about the availability of these materials, uh, which is why I, discovering renewable materials and investing on it. An important thing for a country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow, wow. And that is very, very true. And you really emphasize on the importance of why that is important. So, you as a young person, you are in this space as a researcher. What other opportunities exist for young people in terms of using renewable materials? Could be in your field or any other space.
Yeah, actually, when we're talking about renewable materials, uh, we, food packaging, for instance, so it has to be uh, renewable and also be biodegradable, as I said. Uh, and Well, actually, when we're talking about renewable materials, it's also about renewable energy. It's also about uh, the fuel. Like we cannot use the fossil fuel because it's going to be disappear. Having this source to be renewable, uh, yeah, uh, it's go. It's the industries will move to that way, and young people can find innovations to can make an innovations to satisfy that needs in the industry, right? uh, and also I feel like uh, young people can also speak out about the importance of these renewable materials, renewable energies, uh, because uh, like I said, government pay attention to young people's voice, and when more people are talking about this, it's going to be um, more likely to be listened by the government and more likely for the government to invest in these things. And yeah, hopefully we can we can increase the innovations in renewable materials, and uh, young people can take a part of it.
Yes, for sure. I think what I'm getting from you is that the opportunities that exist are the spaces for young people to be innovative, thinking beyond
Yeah,
what they study in the classroom, identifying the challenges that are there and
yeah,
actually
exactly.
coming up
Yeah,
with solutions. And that also creates jobs in the process. And the other aspect I
yeah,
think you're
yeah,
also talking about is the issue of advocacy. And advocacy means changing policy, enabling them to be implemented, having your voice as a young person at the table, in short. And so, what is the citizen science project?
oh yeah, it's interesting. Citizen science. Citizen science is a new approach in science, though maybe it has been used for a long time ago, but it gains recognitions in just recently. Uh, Usually, scientists believe that they are special, and common people are only the subject for their research. And as a seasoned scientist, we don't believe it. In citizen science, we believe these people should not only be the subject of the research, but also be involved in the research itself. So they can make a plan. They can plan the research. They should be involved in the research itself, and they should be able to be involved in the interpretations of the research data. So the citizen science is the approach that we used to tackle the mercury problem. So people there, firstly, they're not aware that this mercury is a very dangerous substance. So increasing their awareness is a challenge, and we did it through citizen science. So we collaborate with them. We we designed a, for instance, we identify you know the sampling the sampling locations with them, and empowering the community to uh, uh, to understand how to analyze the samples, how can they take the sample out of the water, for instance, or from plant samples, or from soils. So uh, afterward, we disseminate the results we gain from the laboratory. Uh, in this way, the people be can have more how to say that, self belonging, like feeling of belonging the data. So they're a part of it. They're not only the subject of the research, because most of the time there have been many research conducted in the community, but even these researchers do not go back to the community and tell the results to the community. So they don't know what is happening to, to themselves. They don't know what happened with the results of the research. So in citizen science, we want these people to get involved as well. We want them to be the researchers themselves. So yeah, this is a citizen science.
Having received a grant to conduct the project, what are the best ways for young people to obtain similar grants or sources of funding for what they do?
Yeah, well, actually, I started this project with a grant from WWF Netherlands. So it's a huge amount of money back then. Uh, so the reasons why we have this idea, why we submit a proposal to WWF because we have this collaboration first with the lecturer, the professors in my university. So uh, we usually had a discussions, and then we came out, why don't we make a proposal and try to use this approach to solve the problems of the mercury. Uh, so that's how we can get the grant. For young people, it's difficult because they don't have enough credibility, I think. uh, People who want to give them money, they need they need to know to whom they will give the money. For young people, it's hard because they don't have experiences, they don't have backgrounds, and people don't know about them. So I think making collaborations with professionals, with those who have been reputable enough in the field, will really help you uh, to achieve the realizations of the project and receive grant from the uh, funding institutions.
Wow,
Yeah,
Muhammad. Yeah, and thank you so much for reminding the young people that yes, it is challenging to get this kind of funding, and collaborating with older or more experienced professionals is actually
yeah,
advantage. And what I also like the aspect of what Muhammad has talked about is how he has collaborated with his professors. So if you are a student, make sure you collaborate with your school. Go and find out what opportunities exist within you. So advocacy
yeah,
is instrumental to build better, stronger, and a greater future for children and young people across the world. So, what support do young people need to advocate for action that prevents pollution and climate change and use of renewable materials?
yeah. Well, firstly is the knowledge. I think they need to understand what is actually happening, so they don't just say things without knowledge, because it will lose the credibility of the movement. People will perceive, oh, this is just a bunch of kids talking about things. uh, so they don't take you very seriously. So I think you need to have a deeper understanding regarding what regarding the issues that you're talking. So and also enrich yourselves with the diversity of perspective. So yeah, sometimes, like myself, we are very selfish sometimes and naive when we're talking about, for instance, climate change or environment. Uh, we we often believe this is the only way that we can solve the problems without looking any other alternatives out there, or other possibilities or reasons why we don't do this just yet, why the governments cannot do this. I mean, like, I think yeah, not for instance, like myself, citizen science, we use citizen science, but we should also uh, we should also analyze what is the weakness of the citizen science. The weakness of citizen science is the data quality, and we need to overcome this data quality first. So when you are advocating about an issue as a young people, you need to have this understanding that you might be wrong in some way. Your solutions might not be the only solution. So seek more information, learn more things, especially today. The resources for this information is a lot. From CynthiaUNTAMED, for examples, people can learn from your channel. Uh, so yeah, education is number one, and secondly, the platforms. Of course, these young people need to be collaborating. So they are not only uh, do it alone. They need to collaborate with their peers, with their friends. So they can make their movement become stronger. Yeah. Uh, and and of course, lastly is the opportunity, to get the educations, the opportunity to get to go to these platforms, uh, the opportunity to get the grant. The opportunity is there some most of the time, but they do not have access.
Wow, knowledge, diversity of opportunity, diversity of perspective, and the opportunity to collaborate and find information. Amazing, Muhammad. It's been amazing hosting you. Thank you so much for being part of Cynthia Untamed and Opportunity Desk. A call to action to everyone who's watching this. Have a look at Opportunity Desk and access the latest opportunities, be it from internships to jobs to being in an interview. You can even get featured on Opportunity Desk. And keep checking out Cynthia Untamed for more interviews like this and more information on how you can be a global citizen. Muhammad, once again, it's been amazing hosting you, and I really, really wish
Yeah.
you all the very best. Do you have something to
Thank
say to our
you.
viewers right before we close the interview?
Well, I don't have much to say, but I want to say thank you for having me and to be interviewed in these sessions, and I'm really happy with the results of the Opportunity Desk Impact Challenge. I really hope the collaborations is not only limited to only in my country, but perhaps people out there who want to reach me out, please reach me out asking about my project. Yeah, I really expect there will be the collaborations in the global scale. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, Muhammad. To all of you out there, make sure you tell a friend about Muhammad and his work and learn more on Cynthia and Team. I will see you in the next episode, and always remember to dream big and hope deeply.